All right, welcome to the first edition of the Face Off for 2013. It's a special look back at the year that was. Our roles are reversed, as the host, usually Sportmentary, is taking on a New Year's resolution that he won't be such a verbose loudmouth. And I'll try to keep this short and sweet. I was looking back at what the Sportmentary, the king of prognostication, thought would happen in the NFL last year, or I guess for this season. And much to my chagrin, I found that he was actually right about some things. So I think we're going to go back and call this segment You Called It with Sportmentary. So without further ado, Sportmentary, what do you have to say about your predictions for the NFL season?
I didn't know you changed your name to Al. That was a pretty catchy tune there. But anyway, that's probably one of the best songs that you've picked all year, I must say. I still got that in my head, trying to focus a little bit.
Well, it fits in with You Called It.
Well,
2012.
This afternoon you emailed me the link back to the article that I had forgotten about, and you said, just check this out. And that's before we decided on the format of our first show of 2013. And looking back at it, I made some predictions of the 2012 season, and more importantly, the divisional winners. And then I did make some playoff predictions, but that's probably left for another show. We'll at the end of this, we'll kind of just say what those predictions are, so that maybe possibly we can recount those after after the Super Bowl. So here we go. It looks like in the divisional winners, I think I only got one wrong, and that I picked the Philadelphia Eagles to win the NFC East. And we all know where the Eagles finished dead last. So that was a pretty bad call on my part, and I wouldn't say I called that one. I also, I did say that Vic is injury prone, and that might make this pick risky. So I did kind of take almost a mulligan on that one. I did say, it all hinges on him being injury free, and he wasn't, as we know, with the concussion. Although he wasn't playing very well before that either. So, let's hit the NFC North, my favorite division because of my Minnesota Vikings. And it pains me to do it, but I did pick the Green Bay Packers. I thought that pick was a no-brainer, and I just thought that the team would make some improvements from last year's team, and that Aaron Rodgers is just, the go-to guy. He's a great quarterback, so I thought that was no brainer. But here is one of the surprising picks. I forgot about this.
Well, wait. Before you get too high on the hog and then back into what you're well known for doing, which is saying I called something after the fact. I will give you credit for picking the Packers to win, but again, you said it is a no-brainer. What teams did you have to choose from? Detroit was never going to be a contender.
We didn't know that though. Detroit was a contender by all picks. They were gonna. I believe that they might have been right up there as a team
Detroit, to contend. If anything, they regressed. They didn't do anything to improve their team.
You can say hindsight's 20/20, buddy, that they regressed, but we didn't know that they were going to regress.
Picking the Packers was, if you would have picked any team other than the Packers, I would have called you brain dead.
No, anyway, I don't agree. Remember,
let's go over your Philadelphia pick.
Wait, the defense was suspect, so was the offensive line. So you can't say that they were a sure bet. For me, they were. And almost a counter jinx pick to begin with. But I mean, everybody knew going in.
Well, here's the fact: they have the best quarterback in the division. Typically, the team with the best quarterback is going to win. So
that's not necessarily true. If you don't have an offensive line, you're not.
I'm going to jump ahead a bit. I'm going to go to your NFC South champion pick.
That is a pick of picks. Come on.
Atlanta Falcons. Matt Ryan overcame his road woes. And what did they finish with? A 14-2 record?
Well, something like that. It doesn't really matter what they finished with. I think that was a bold pick.
But you thought the Saints might be a safe pick.
Who did I pick?
You ended up picking the it's just your reasoning just boggles my mind.
No, I said the Saints might be a safe pick, but with the drama in Saints land, I wasn't going there. Bottom line is, everybody was picking the Saints to possibly be that surprise after what happened to them with sanctions and penalties. The Atlanta Falcons was a good pick because everybody's criticizing Matt Ryan. And I said, if one thing we know, he's a great regular season quarterback. Matt Ryan had a career year this year, all right? Nobody predicted that. I did. So there, don't take away. It says right here in italics, my pick, Atlanta Falcons. You're going to take that away from me?
I would never take anything away from...
Let's move on. NFC West champion.
Wait, I just want to see, like, I think it's also important for the people out there who also probably picked the Atlanta Falcons to not get such big heads and think that they're such great prognosticators when your division consists of the Carolina Panthers, the New Orleans Saints.
Some people thought would improve from
and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Anyway, my point is that it was slim pickings in so far 2 out of the 3 divisions. And the one division where it was difficult, you were wrong. So this is kind of heading towards...
Okay, whatever. You know, it's good for you to start picking apart because I'd like to see what you would have done with this. But anyway, Sam...
I admit it, I was bold enough to make these predictions because...
NFC West.
Predictions are for fools.
NFC... You know, I'm going to pull up another article when we're done because I'm going to say something that was the bold pick of bold picks, all right? And I think I mentioned to you this week, and you couldn't believe what I'd written, right? How good that was. So, you know, why don't you introduce my next pick that I got right?
Okay, well, we'll round off the NFC with the NFC West. I look at your article, and yes, oh great one, you did pick the San Francisco 49ers to finish in first.
Well, you know, you're gonna laugh at that pick, but you know what happens, and we've seen it. Teams that do well one year but fall just short sometimes fall apart, right? We also know that there's, I believe there's a team called the Seattle Seahawks, and people were saying that they were going to have the best defense in the NFL this year. That's what the experts believe. The experts believe that the Seattle Seahawks could give a run to San Francisco, and they fell just short. So before you laugh at me, you can't just say that was a no-brainer pick.
Well, I will say it's a 2-team division. So yeah, it could have been San Francisco or any other team, whichever team decided to play ball. But you know what? Fairness to San Francisco, they've done that with a rookie quarterback. They changed quarterbacks midway through the season when things were going just fine. I guess they had a bit of a skid and what, they're 3-2 in their last 5. Let's see what happens. I still think that Seattle was would have been a more risky pick because they chose to go with the rookie quarterback.
We didn't know that. We have to look at what quarterback everybody believed would start, right? And in free agency who was sought after. So you can't just say what ended up happening is Wilson ended up being the right choice, and look what he did with the team. Had we known that Wilson was would have been the guy to be picked and he would have this year, we had a glass ball, maybe I would have picked Seattle, and then I would have been wrong. What I'm saying is there's a lot that goes into things that you can just say that was a no-brainer pick. I'm saying I picked San Francisco. They won the division. Now I want to go back because you laugh at my Philadelphia, and yes, I was wrong in Philadelphia, but I want you to know that back in on August 20th, I made my prediction for the New York Giants, and I said they will miss the playoffs. Everybody was picking the Giants to win the division, and what did I say? They would finish the season at 8-8. They finished at 9-7. I could read the whole article. We don't have time, but it was pretty in-depth reasoning why they wouldn't win the division. So before you say I got Philadelphia wrong, I'm just off on a wild tangent. I'm telling you that was a pretty impressive prediction. So anyway, now we'll. I'm
not going to deny that you got lucky with a couple of these picks. So let's go to the AFC East, where your choice was the New England Patriots.
And I think
before you explain it again, who has the best quarterback?
You know what?
Listen, who has the best quarterback in that division?
It doesn't matter. What I'm saying is, yes, this one is probably the easiest of all the picks that I've made going into the season. The bottom line is you still have to make a pick. Now, here's the thing. Who went to 2 AFC championships in his first 2 years as head coach of a team out in the East Coast? Rex Ryan.
I know who you're going to say. It was Rex Ryan.
His team fell to 8-8 last year. All right? Nobody believed it would be as putrid as it was, even though Mark Sanchez sucked. Some people still believed in him going into this year. They were supposed to have the best defense. They had a couple injuries. They had two of the best defensive players. Their defense actually did play well this year. So you can't just say that was a bad pick, because had things turned around, and we know what happens. You can't predict injuries. You can't predict what happens. New York Jets, what if they would have won? Then you would say, you picked New England, you got it wrong. You didn't get it right. You didn't have a crystal ball to see they'd have injuries. What I'm saying is, when you pick these games and you pick these teams, all right, you go in and you take a gut, you look at things and you make a pick. I got it right. Check mark. All right. Now, because you're starting to take me off here. All right.
Well,
wait a minute. Here's a pick. All right. This is a team that nobody predicted would win the division, because they always fall short to win the division. They get a wild card berth. Baltimore Ravens are the AFC North champion. All right. I went on a limb. Now, I didn't know what would happen to the Steelers. I thought it would come down to a battle of the Steelers and the Ravens, and which it was probably until the 9th or 10th week. Ben Roethlisberger goes down. Nobody can predict that, and all hell broke loose. So nobody knew that would happen. Bottom line is, I still said the Ravens would win the division, not knowing how the things would develop. Check mark.
I will say, had I been so bold as to make predictions, or even thought that these predictions were worth making, I probably wouldn't have picked the Steelers either. I think the Steelers are getting old on defense. Big Ben is too injury prone at this point in his career, and they're on the downslide. So you know what?
You know what?
It was the year for the Ravens. Cincinnati.
It's so easy when you don't make predictions. All right, you don't make the predictions, and you can see how the season unravels, and say that. All right, the guy's been to 2 Super Bowls. He went to the playoffs last year, injury prone or not.
He's weather beaten.
He went to the playoffs last year. He went to the playoffs last year, injury prone or not.
Well, you know what? Pick it up here. I want to hear your explanation for the Houston Texans.
What do you mean, my?
How did you choose them?
How did I choose them? I didn't think any team would compete against them. Hello?
Are you still there?
What the heck happened to you?
We got some technical difficulty.
All right. Well, and how did I pick Houston Texans? You're going to laugh. Now, you see, this is an example of why picking a team and looking to see who their rivals are is not so easy. All right? Yes. Coming to this year, I didn't think that there was any team that could compete with them. If you look at who else, Indianapolis, Tennessee, and Jacksonville. All right? Bottom line is, Indianapolis fell 1 game short, and nobody ever thought that Indianapolis could even make the playoffs. So nobody thought that they'd even have competition, and they did. So the pick was made, check, because let me tell you something. How many years have you been watching football? Same amount as me?
Probably a little longer, because I've always been a little more interested in sports. You were more into the ballet at first.
Okay. So, have we ever had a time where we're coming into a season, we could pick 3 teams that said were no-brainers to win their divisions and go to the playoffs and make a deep run, only to find those teams didn't make the playoffs? Ever happened? Happened more than once? Happened more than twice?
I'm sure it's happened.
Happened more than 4 or 5 times?
My point is that you pick the team again with the best quarter.
I'm saying it's so easy to look out there and say this team is going to win because blah, 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 which I did, and I put it in writing.
You put it in writing. It comes down to Matt Shaw. If he stays healthy, better watch out.
No, I've made 1 wrong pick. I'd like you to go out and see other ones who picked all the division winners with the same information I had and see if they got them all right except for 1. So
I think this might have been the easiest year to make picks.
Okay.
But the last pick.
Come on.
Excuse me, I'm hosting today. I need you to calm down.
All right.
The last pick,
Announce it.
I'm going to give you full credit for. The last pick was the AFC West, and you picked, go ahead.
The Denver Broncos.
And you said that?
Peyton Manning will be the difference. Last year, the Broncos had a good defense, an opportunistic defense. They also had Tebow. This year, the Broncos have Manning, and he will take the Broncos where Tebow couldn't. That is, a consistent and good offensive game.
And I would say it was even more than consistent. It was a great offense. Those guys put up 481 points in the season. I'm looking through this. The only team that had more points for was, well, New England, but we're used to that. But full credit to you for thinking that Peyton Manning would actually last the season. I didn't think it was a great move, and boy, did that one I will give you full credit for. However, I'm going to look at the teams that they finished ahead of. San Diego.
San Diego was supposed to come in this year and do a hell of a lot better than they did. Now, come on.
But I think San Diego, as they say, has jumped the shark, and Norv Turner's now swimming with the fishes. So, Oakland.
Coming into this year, you didn't know that was going to happen. You're looking at the season, how it unfolded. I was looking at the season.
I'm giving you full credit. I'm just saying that you're right. Predictions, the great thing about predictions is that you can justify why you made them after the fact.
I didn't justify them after the fact. I made the picks and they were right.
I am giving you full credit for that.
Okay,
so
picking apart this year in the world, easiest year ever, and I'm telling you, I'd like to go back and see predictions prior to the year starting and see what other people came with, because it looks easy now because we see teams that how they finish, all right, and we go, oh, that was easy. But coming to this year, you'd never know how the NFL is going to pan out. And as I said, people pick divisional winners and who's going to win the Super Bowls at the beginning of season for decades now, and some of them have never been right. So I'm saying I went out on a limb for whatever reason. A team looked easy, a team looked bad, whatever. A team looked great. I put it on as an article, all right, months ago. Okay.
I'm not denying you went out on a limb.
I thought, how many wrong did I get?
Well, you got one wrong.
I got one wrong, and my reasoning for not picking the team, okay, because you say, oh, it was easy, it was this, where most people pick the Giants not only to win, but possibly make a run at the Super Bowl again, all right? And I went on another article, and I said that's not going to happen. Did I not?
True, but I'm just
okay.
I'm doing our friends over at the Bleacher Report also went on a limb.
Comish, if I was using your reasoning, the no-brainer pick would have been New York Giants when you compared them to the Eagles, knowing how they finished. When you compare to the Washington Redskins, how they finished last year. A team that hadn't made the playoffs in how many years, okay? Who else do we have in that division? Dallas Cowboys? Give me a break, all right? The easy pick were the Giants. And I went against them. Now, I didn't get it right, but my reasoning for going against the Giants was bang on.
Okay, I just want to say our friends over at Bleacher Report also got just one wrong. And I'm going to continue looking while you continue patting yourself on the back.
Which one did they get wrong, by the way?
They got also NFC East wrong. They picked the Giants.
And who did they pick?
They picked the Giants.
For every reason that everybody else picked the Giants but me.
Yeah, definitely, but you know what? Some would say he should never be
moving ahead, because now it gets more difficult. Now we have division winners, and now we have to see how they finish. All right? And I might fall totally flat. NFC champion San Francisco, AFC champion New England Patriots, Super Bowl champion New England Patriots. Okay? That was my pick back at the beginning of the season, and we'll see how they pan out.
Well, no, it will be interesting to see how the playoffs turn out and see where
you can't look back. If it turns out to be right, as I said, anything can happen. I think it gets even tougher getting into the playoffs because upsets can happen. But if my picks for both the NFC, AFC, and then the third pick of the champion team works out, you can't go back and say, that was an easiest season. Those are the easiest picks, knowing what you know after the fact. Because those picks are still bold picks. And what we know is the competitive nature in this year's playoffs, those picks are unlikely to happen. Especially when you have a Denver. Especially when you have the Green Bay Packers. I almost called them the Giants there. Green Bay Packers, the Atlanta Falcons, who might for once win in playoffs. What I'm saying is it's not an easy year for the 49ers to come out of it. It's not an easy year for the Patriots to come out of it. There's going to be some stiff competition going forward. And if those two teams make the Super Bowl, and if the Patriots beat the 49ers, in their rematch game from this season. Though that's a bold pick, picking them back early to September.
Well, you know what? There's no doubt that you can say this year that you called it, but you've inspired me. And next year, I'm looking forward to going face to face and toe to toe with you and seeing which of us does better in our predictions.
As I say, it's easy to come back and say, well, I didn't predict, but if I would have predicted, I would have predicted what you predicted.
No, I agree. Listen,
what I'm saying is you wouldn't have predicted.
You guys say I'm right and you're wrong, but in this case, you called it. You're right. I'm wrong.
I just want to say because
and I'm inspired.
I accept your saying that I was right. I accept all that. But I want to go back and say that if you had done these picks, I bet you would have picked the Giants as the NFC East divisional winner.
I'm going to say I wouldn't have picked Washington. I didn't. The fact that the rookie quarterbacks have done so well, be it Luck, be it RG, be it Russell Wilson, I would never have thought this would happen. And next year's going to be even more difficult because people are going to be on these guys' bandwagon. But who knows if they'll suffer from the sophomore jinx that.
And who knows? Also, transpires and with players leaving, and there's a whole. Because I do believe that football is a team sport. I wrote about it today in my piece about Tony Romo and giving him one more chance, which he should. You can't blame the quarterback or give the accolade to the quarterback 100%. It's a team sport.
I agree. Football.
And what I say about
but as your quarterback goes, so goes your team.
Now let me just say, had I picked Houston, and had Andrew Luck actually got them the division, he went to 11-5. The Texans went to 12-4. All right, and had those two records been reversed, and I wouldn't have got Houston right, you would have been sitting right here laughing at me, even though you thought it was a no-brainer pick. How you got that one wrong? Okay, what I'm saying is. Because anything can happen, because this was a year of the rookie quarterback, Seattle could have won the division. Came pretty close, right? So if they would have won the division, I would have picked the wrong team for the wrong reason, right? So what I'm saying is that's what you work into it. As somebody who writes picks expertly like I obviously do, I have to say that, yeah, looking back, I'll be honest, I didn't predict the year of the quarterback. Well, that's not exactly true. I thought that RG3 was going to have a great year. We talked about it. And I said, Andrew Luck, this is what I did say, so I'll say I got this one wrong. Well, I think Andrew Luck will end up being of this class of quarterback, the best quarterback. Okay, and I think Russell Wilson and RG3 will somewhere be very close seconds. I said that Andrew Luck wouldn't have a great year because I didn't think Indianapolis could do it right this year. But that overall he will end up doing more in the playoffs than his counterparts. All right? RG3 had the year that I expected. I still didn't pick Washington because I thought the rest of the team was horse you know what.
Listen, it's hard to predict what was going to happen with those. Yeah, I give you full credit again. So what I'm going to say is that we pick this up next week at this time after the wild card and maybe focus on who wins those games. We'll have a little chat about that. And what I'm most looking forward to, though, is making our picks for next year, which can't take place yet, but I'm getting ready. I'm going to start researching. I'm going to watch things closely over the year, and that'll be an exciting show. Still about 6 months away probably, but still, that'll be exciting.
Hey, on another note, this is my first year of fantasy football, believe it or not. My first year of fantasy football, and I came runner-up in my league, all right? And what did me in was that Aaron Foster going out with the regular heartbeat. Who would have thunk that, right? And so he had -1 points, believe it or not. And Gore only finished with something like 1 point. Those two big guys, I could have possibly won the whole thing. So anyway, that's just another example of me going out on a limb in a totally different realm than I've ever done before, and I did pretty damn good.
Yeah, something to be said for beginner's luck and being more like a Rain Man than a Thunder Man. Anyways, I think we should let everyone get back to what they want to do. You know where to find us at sportmentary.com. It's been a pleasure.
That's right. We'll see you next week, though.
Dealing with Mr. Perfect, and we'll play that out. Here we go. Have a good evening, everybody.